Now, Joe Kleine has appeared on our program before, but I feel like we didn't give him his just due. So we're going to do that right now. Razorback legend, Olympic gold medalist, barbecue connoisseur, SEC network analyst.
Yeah. What did we miss, Joe?
I miss anything?
Now we're talking.
At center, number 35, a 6'11 junior from Slater, Missouri, Joe Kleine.
Joe Kleine at the line. He's averaging 19 points a game and over 9.5 rebounds. Michael Jordan knocked down by Kleine. Joe Kleine. Every time for Arkansas. Their key player, obviously, in the middle, 6'11". Joe Kleine leads the team in scoring and rebounding. Holy cow, Joe Kleine powers his way up. William Mills into Kleine again. He's covered up by two men. Gets the shot away anyway.
Big Joe from Slater Mo. Joe, is that better?
Wow.
Is that a better introduction for you this morning?
Can we just put that on a loop?
Just repeat.
I'll put it. I'll just drive around in my car and feel like I feel special.
I remember being 6 years old, Joe, and going to.
Oh, thank you. You just killed the moment.
Hang on. I'm about to bring it back up. Going to Grand Plaza Barbershop and saying, Leroy, I want a haircut. I want to look like Joe Kleine. Give me a haircut like Joe Kleine. He's my hero.
Oh, you poor misguided soul.
Yeah, I didn't get a date to the first grade dance, so I changed immediately for second grade.
Yeah, I was going to say, you better change it. You probably, I don't know if you're married, but if you kept that cut, you're probably not there yet either.
I'm hanging on by a thread.
Joe, I know there's been some years between now and then, but do you remember that moment with Michael? Like, I know.
Oh, yeah.
What happened?
I blocked his shot, but it wasn't like he was going in for a dunk, and he drove baseline and he was under the basket and kind of jumped backwards, and I was there, and I used my 10-inch vertical to probably to get him from behind. So technically I can look at my grandkids and say I blocked Michael Jordan's shot, but when basketball people look at it, they go, yeah, you did, but
they'll
it's
say,
not like you pinned him on the way as he was getting ready to dunk it.
The nerds will say, well, Joe, you weren't the primary defender in that situation. They'll bust you up about
analytics.
Yeah.
Joe, you called the game on Monday night. I know there's been a lot talked about of the lack of attendance in Budweiser Arena. You got a Friday night game. What have you made of that conversation this week?
Well, I mean, there's validity to it, but this is not something that's just happening at Arkansas. I mean, it happens at, I know your anti-Cal people are jumping all over it, and this doesn't happen in Kentucky. Well, I've done games at Rupp that were against, lesser, no disrespect, against lesser opponents, and there were seats. I mean, you could clearly see numerous seats. Now, the game Monday night was a little more so. I think the weather. I think it's a Monday night. The weather. You're coming off a Texas weekend, so. But again, from that standpoint, I think there's some reasons by it. But I also see the point of if you're not using your tickets. I have 4 tickets up there. My son lives up there, and he always when he can't go, he pretty much always finds somebody that will take him. And so, I think that's the point that's being made is that there's people out there that will go, and if you got tickets, make them available. Try to reach out or find people. Most people know, out of the 19,200 seats that are sold, most people knew by last night, 16,000 people knew by last night, Wednesday night, whether they're going to the game or not on Friday.
Mm-hmm.
And so, I mean, if you're one of the, 5,000 or 6,000 that are not going to go, you got 3 days, try to find somebody that'll go. Or a charity that'll take them or whatever. And I mean, you're not going to be successful every time, but I think what Cal was trying to say is just, make an effort to get somebody to use your tickets. And so, I get both sides of it. I mean, and again, everybody that's kind of anti-Cal makes it sound like it's only in Arkansas, but it doesn't happen at Duke, but it never happened at Barnhill either, but there was 9,000 seats. Duke has 7,500 seats, so those are different cases altogether.
Yeah. So, Joe, we're 4 games into the year. You called the game Monday, as Ty mentioned. What do we know about this team at this point? Give us some insight from your trained eye. What do we know a handful of games in?
Well, they got really good guards. I like their guards. Thero is a big-time athlete and can do a lot of things. They have really good athleticism, and they need Adu to get healthy. I mean, and they need Brazil to get. I mean, they're going to need size and depth when they start playing against some of these better teams. And so, I really hope that Adu can come together, because I think he's different. But Brazil's another athlete, a bouncy guy, long, lengthy guy that can give him some length and do some things. But Adu gives him, I think, a presence of physicality that they really don't have with anybody else that plays. I mean, I think Thero does some of that, but again, I think he's a little bit undersized from a SEC 4 and 5 every night. I think you can be successful with him in there if he's playing with another big guy, but I just think they need the size and the physicality of Adu to really have this thing be able to potentially reach its peak.
Yeah. Should we be concerned long-term about injuries? This team's been banged up before the season to start the year. Ty's mentioned this a few times. He's concerned about it and the depth long-term. What's your view of this team's depth and the injury status where we're at in the beginning of the year?
Well, injuries you always worry. I mean, injuries are the unpredictable factor in any sport. I mean, those are things that you can't, 9 players is plenty of players. I mean, 9 healthy guys is plenty of depth. It's probably the exact number that you want to play. I mean, you only have 200 minutes in a game, and so 8 to 9 guys. It's like Cal's talked about numerously. You can keep them in a rhythm, and they're happy, and they know they're going to play, and they stay engaged. The 10, 11, 12, 13 guys are in and out. And nowadays, I think what Cal was saying is that you have to pay those guys. If you really go out and recruit those guys, you got to pay them. And you always have to tell kids when you recruit them about how they have a great chance to play. And now you start paying them money, and they're your 10th, 11th, and 12th, and 13th guy. You spend all year developing them. You give them the money, and then they're gone. They're going to leave because they're not going to be playing as much. And that's the way it goes these days. So I think it was a smart thing to allocate your resources. And it's a gamble. I mean, and when you're injured and you got guys out, you're playing with 7 guys, you're going to get criticized for it. And when everybody gets back and everybody's playing good, and they can start talking about the economics of it and things like that, you're going to be brilliant. You're going to be setting a new standard on how to do things. So, it's like all sports. When it's going good, you're a genius, and when it isn't going good, you don't know what you're doing, or you should have done it differently. So, I personally thought it was a smart move to allocate your resources to the 9 guys you feel are going to play, and be able to get a really good bunch. Because again, I think your 10 through 13 guys, you can never keep them happy. You pay them money, and then they leave at the end of the year.
Joe Kleine with us here on the Morning Rush. Joe, I want to ask you about John L. Davis, who I haven't expected him to be at this point. I thought he'd be the leading scorer. I thought he'd be the alpha, and that hasn't translated thus far. What have you thought about him? And Cal's mentioned getting him going. How do you get John L. Davis, Nelly Davis going with this group?
Yeah, I mean, I like how he's playing, and I'm really I get to do the game tomorrow night too, so I'm really happy about that. But I think he's getting some good looks. I don't think he's forcing anything. I think this team likes each other. I like how they play together, and he's getting some really good looks, and he's just not knocking them down. And I think that is going to – I just think he's too good of a shooter for this not to turn at some point. I think there's a little bit of – he was a guy that had the ball a lot at FAU. Mm-hmm. I mean, he was a primary ball handler. He's playing off the ball right now a lot more than that. So I think there's an adjustment there. And I think that, but I just, every time his shot looks good, it looks pure. It's always right on line. It's either short or it's long. His misses are right there, and he's not forcing it. He's playing within the system. I really like how he's playing. He's not making his shot, but I mean, it looks like I said the other night. I just think it's a matter of time. It's going to happen. Sooner than later, I think.
Joe, before we let you go, you mentioned calling the game Monday. Got the game tomorrow night. Have you requested that game in Lexington yet? Have you tried to do your darndest? Say, hey guys, I'll do it for free.
Just to pick them out.
I'll do it for free.
No, I've requested. In fact, I've called them probably right at 15 to 20 times, and they just haven't got back to me.
Yeah. Hey, Jimmy Dykes, take the night off. Joe Kleine here.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Well, maybe I can he have a flat tire or something real suspicious kind of happens, and he can't make it. We may have to go that route.
Joe, we'll leave it there, man. Appreciate you joining us this morning.
All right, guys.
Great stuff.
Appreciate you guys. Have a good day.
Big Joe from Slater Mo with us here on the Morning Rush.
BetOnline is the world's most trusted betting platform and your number one source for online betting. From the earliest odds to in-game live betting, BetOnline provides you with all the action and the ability to watch the games as they happen. With the largest selection of odds on everything from football, NBA, and college basketball, NHL to UFC and MMA. Head to BetOnline today to get in on the action with America's most trusted site for online wagering. BetOnline, the game starts here.